episode. That one.
14.
14.
Nailed it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So why does training change as you age is what we're going to cover today.
Yep.
We're going to go into why or should you stop certain things. What do you need to add? What do I mean about losing your wiggle room to be lazy? And trying new things is great at any age. I do want to start with a disclaimer.
Okay.
Oh.
We're young
Yes.
and we don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, totally. We're making up
Is
to it.
what a lot of people are going to say.
Well, we're all in our 30s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some earlier in their 30s than others.
Not that she likes to rub it in or anything.
You're only like 2 minutes older than me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the old one.
But still,
I'm very aware of those 2 minutes.
he's older than me. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Nice.
So our experiences are going to largely come from working with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever we're starting to reference things that are old, we're always going to be referencing on people we have worked with, not just this is our assumption because isn't life wonderful and we're never going to get old. Because hopefully,
We're never
We
going
are.
to get older. Oh, right. Yeah.
it doesn't work that way, Jenny.
Damn it.
Well,
We
it's
had
the-
a deal.
It's the advantage of being a coach is that your experiences aren't just your own.
Yeah.
It's the wide network of people that you work with and other coaches that you speak to about people that they've worked with and that you pick up from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You get to see it's such a wide range too. You get to see the people who do struggle a lot, but then you've got the complete opposite side where you've got people who are in their 70s that you're like, you might be fitter than me.
For sure.
As I feel like I'm constantly going, have you seen such and such?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You're always saying, have you seen this person? Because it is hard. You can't really relate to someone in that way. So if you have someone that you know of a similar age, similar background, it's like, hey, these people are out there. So
Totally.
don't write yourself off. Never write yourself off.
Whenever I had my gym, I found the most rewarding people to work with were those like 40 and over.
Yeah.
Like definitely 50 and 60 because they saw the most benefit from any changes in their life. Where, when you're young, you can just kind of get away with like being wrapped in duct tape and rolling in dirt.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's always more impressive to me now than seeing like someone that's 25 hitting a massive lift, which yes is impressive and all that there stuff, but seeing someone that's in their late 40s that has a bunch of kids and a job and everything, and they're still able to make the gym 3 times a week and do cool stuff, like that's really impressive to me. So
100%.
it's always about having perspective of like where you're at, and you can't compare yourself to where you used to be.
Yep.
As well. So like you just can't do the things that you used to get away with when you were 20, which is a big point that I want to like focus on.
Sure.
Of yes, you get away with stuff when you're younger. It doesn't necessarily mean you were better. You just got away with it. And yes, things will get harder as you get older, but you need to think of it as like a video game. So you're leveling up. So you're not going to be, as you're aging, just staying the same character you always were. You're trying to learn more about nutrition, learn more about movement, learn as much stuff as you can. So when you get to the harder levels, which is the aging, you're going to have a character that's able to cope with that stuff rather than going, oh no, I'm still level 1 and it's level 80. What do I do?
Yeah.
So
the video game analogy is really good because it's almost like the levels don't get necessarily harder. It's that the recovery between levels shortens. So you don't have as much recovery time to work with. So whenever you're working with older athletes or as you get older, a session that you could have bounced back from the next day might take you 3 days to recover from, even though your performance is actually almost on a par. Like there's Olympians in their 40s who are still able to compete against those in their 20s. The performance is still there. It's just they have to adjust their training to allow it to stay there.
I need a minute.
Yeah.
Change the weight, get another minute. So that leads us nicely to, should you stop certain things? And it's just, you've just touched on a great point there. It's like you don't need to stop, but you do need to slow down a bit and be smarter again. So
Adjusting how you do it to be smart for your body is really good.
Yeah, I'd literally put, don't think so.
Wow.
That's my answer to this. I don't think it's that you need to stop, it's that you need to actually add other things in. And by adding things in, that could be rest. We need to add in more rest and recovery.
Yes.
Or it could be adding in more mobility or whatever it is, which we're going to get to a little later on.
That bad shoulder of mine, it's like maybe actually work on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You've put it off for 20 years, let's actually fix that thing.
Yeah, because something that you're just like, in your 20s or 30s, it's like, okay, no, this is actually a problem now.
Really rubbing these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tried all the things.
Yeah.
Glucosamine.
The
Fish
good
oils.
cinnamon.
Fish oil. It's the real fish oil.
Yeah, like when you're training, it's not necessarily the training that's making improvements. It's the recovery between sessions. You hear it all the time. People are trying to train more and more and more.
Yeah.
But actually, if they spend more time on their nutrition, on their sleep, getting things right in the back end,
Yeah.
it means that their sessions count for more. So I think of aging as like the opposite of steroids. So people who take steroids, it's not that they're, suddenly a superhero in the gym. It's that they're a superhero out of the gym and they recover twice as fast. So they can get more training because they're recovering better. Aging is the opposite.
It is, unfortunately. It sucks the
Anti-steroids.
life out of it.
Just learning. We were talking one time, right? And it was like something about going to the gym or something like that there. And it was like, we were really busy and we were doing like a bunch of adverts or something in 1 week and something like that there. And
It
it was
doesn't
like,
sound like us.
I know it doesn't sound like us at all, but it was like, I just feel like my get up and go is get up and gone. I'm just tired. And it's just like, as you get older as well, you're probably going to be taking on more responsibilities. And
Totally,
it's the
yeah.
brain space I find. So, when I was younger and in my 20s, it wasn't just that, I slept better, recovered better and all that stuff. It was also the amount of space I had in my brain. I had a job that wasn't very demanding and I was able to think about the things I would enjoy. I'd wake up in the morning.
Kids, didn't have a marriage, didn't have a business, didn't have all these other things that are like really good.
So it was just, when am I getting to lift weights again? That was the only thing that ever went through my head. So it was like the full on drive was more there. But when you do have to compartmentalize everything,
Sure.
you have less space for stuff. So,
Which is because you look at how you worked out then, you did a lot of like play and explore, maybe less so than following a structured program, which is it's a really good way to learn because if you've got wide exposure, it develops skills better. But if you're really restricted on time, it might not be an efficient way to get progress.
We were talking to someone at our seminar 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Saturday.
What is time?
Yeah, what day is it?
42.
And she was telling us how since having her kids, her time has become their time.
Yep.
And that is a real common problem with parents, and many people are parents. So it's like, in your 20s, a lot of people aren't having kids till they're 30 or whatever. So that's just another whammy that you're hit with in your 30s, that it's like, oh, now the free time that I did have isn't even my own free time anymore. So you're trying to, battle your own increased fatigue, and you're actually sharing your free time with another human.
Yeah.
And if you've
more
ever
than one.
argued with a tiny human, you find yourself at the biscuit tin at 2 o'clock in the morning for some reason. I need something to make me feel better about
Why is
changing it.
why is it on the bedside table, Tom?
I thought I might need it, and it turned out I did. So,
Yeah.
should we stop certain things? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
We just want to be smarter about it. And you add stuff in. And mobility is one of those things that you can really have a good win with, because if you've been compensating around something for years, like that's already decreasing your power output and your recovery. If a joint's constantly feeling like it's being put under pressure, it's going to wear you down. It's going to wear the joint down.
Yeah.
So if you start to fix that stuff, you can feel and move better. So yes, I may not have as much get up and go as I once had when I was in my 20s, but everything feels a lot better. Yeah. And I do find that I feel like training sessions went better because I moved better. So there's a big stark difference to how I used to feel and how my recovery used to go until I fixed a lot of the issues that I actually had. So
you're boosting one part of yourself, which is your knowledge and your experience, and that's able to overcome then a lot of the slapdash kind of throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, it's like your computer game character. It's like the dexterity and a couple of those ones, your overall strength and everything.
You're getting more accurate.
Yeah, level those things up.
That's cool. So on that, you'd said about, is there anything you should take out of your training? And sometimes yes, maybe, because as you get older, just like law of probability, it's more likely something might have happened to you. You've been in a car crash, or you'd had an accident, or maybe you picked up an injury. So there may be some movements there that you maybe shouldn't have do. I don't know. A couple of guys I went to school with had a really bad accidents in rugby, knocked out their knees, and there's a limit to what you can do to recover that. Mm-hmm. So there maybe are some things that certain people should try and avoid.
That's true, and I guess then it's like being reasonable with that and saying okay, I shouldn't maybe squat full depth anymore, but that doesn't mean okay, well, I'm just never squatting again.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's find
It's
the
not-
variation
yeah.
that works for you.
Exactly, yeah.
It's trying not to be so doom and gloom, and it's more being creative and curious of like, okay, well, what can I do?
Yep.
What workaround can I do?
Totally.
We've talked about on people that maybe do train and maybe find that something happened and they're not training and not feeling as good as they used to. But there's also people that are maybe in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that have not really ever trained.
Ever,
They've never
yeah.
felt like they needed it.
Yep.
And what would you say is the striking advantage to someone that's never trained before that starts training?
You get those newbie gains.
Newbie gains. Yeah.
Those
Any
newbie
age.
gains.
Yeah. And they can happen at any time.
Yeah.
So, you don't think, oh, I'm past it. What's the point? I'll not be able to ever do that.
Yeah.
There are some people that we have met that maybe didn't start something until they're 40 or 50, and you see them in a year's time. Like a year's not a long time.
No.
And you're like, that is a different person. It's absolutely crazy.
Totally.
And you might have been like, yes, you'll obviously have those thoughts of like, what if they'd have picked this up in their 20s? Like,
Yeah.
imagine where they would
They
have
could have
went.
been
Which
so good.
you can think about that all day, but still seeing this person that they've only been doing that for a year and they're doing all this stuff. So yeah, that was the biggest thing about working with older people in CrossFit for me. Like just seeing the difference like those newbie gains can make to someone and how they feel and how they look. I always more lean towards like, how do you feel? It's like I'm not sore all the time. I'm like, oh, that's amazing, but the looking changes as well, how they feel. And the other things that they do outside of training too, like they just are like more capable. For stressful situations, which I'm hoping happens to me one day too.
There's one time. Well, yeah, because there's sort of three categories of people, and I feel like the second one is the trickiest to be. So the first is you've been active, you stay active, you're always active. The second one is you're active, life happens,
Oh, life.
and then you come back to being active again. And then the third is you're not active, and then you take it up in later life. I think, yeah, as you said, that's a really good category because you get all the newbie gains, it's super fun, it's novel. But that category that once knew that they were great, and then they're not, and then they're starting back, and they have all these sort of thoughts and feelings about, oh, I used to be so good at this, and that to me is like the hardest group to really work with because you're trying to sort of, it's okay.
You've got to find that competitive drive back in them again and channel it in a way that they feel like they're making a progress again. So we have friends that used to train in the circus, Gareth and Laura.
Yeah.
And nowadays, so like Gareth used to flip people. Like he used to throw them. he used to throw people. Like he used to stand and people would do one-handed handstands on his head.
Wow.
He would do the throwing and trapeze and stuff and all that there.
That's sweet.
He used to train in the circus multiple hours a day, every day, lived for the circus, did the Batman Broadway show
in
or something
Vegas
like that.
Oh, really?
Vegas.
Stuff. Yeah.
Oh, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
like huge, like he is crazy strong. We were at the gym this morning,
Jesus.
and he came in. Jenny just before Jenny got there, and he lifted 2 5 kg dumbbells, and he did a wee stretch over the bench with them, and then he grabbed the 42.5 kg dumbbells and just started benching with them, like they were nothing.
His first
And, like,
set.
his first set, and like for
my
4 reps,
goodness.
like, and he wasn't shaking whatsoever. Like that was him
That's
taking it easy
crazy.
in his 40s. So he still has this ridiculous level of strength that nobody that I know
that's crazy.
his age
Yeah.
can do whatsoever, and he's still so hard on himself.
It's
I'm
just
like, dude,
built
you're
on-
incredible.
yeah.
And Laura's the same with like pulling strength.
But what they used to be able to do was
Well,
off
for
the
sure,
charts.
yeah.
So they're not happy with their performance some days now, and you're like, people in their 40s
It's so
would
relative,
kill to
yeah.
have
That's so
what you
tricky.
have, yeah. But you're right, it is a difficult. I used to have mindset to get people out of when you're
Yeah.
coaching them, which is why sometimes it's nice to just start a completely different sport
Oh,
or a
yeah.
completely different training
Yeah.
style, because then you get your beginner gains and all this stuff.
You do, yeah.
But hopefully you've still got that foundation of something else.
Yeah.
at one
Especially
point.
if you have had that foundation as a kid or a teenager of doing some sports or whatever, you learn those complex patterns that are transferable. Where if you miss that at an early development stage, I think there is a limit to what you can develop in later life. You can still have fun with it, still make loads of progress, but there's just like
It can just be much harder.
Yeah.
You can still make those neural pathways and everything, but it's a much bigger ask. So yeah, there's that. But again, then you've still got those newbie gains there.
oh yeah.
So
Sick
it's
gains.
like the learning how to juggle thing. Like once you kind of get good at it, your brain doesn't get as much from it anymore
Yeah,
because it's
that's
not a
true.
new skill. You're just
got to make it harder.
you've got to make it harder. You're just maintaining stuff. So yeah, it just depends what people used to do and stuff.
Yeah.
That
Well,
does
so-
depend on stuff.
Does different stuff.
I think sport.
They do come back. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The gains they used to have if they've done stuff before come back way faster. Like way faster than you
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
So you can see someone that is maybe down on what they have used to be able to do and stuff, but as soon as they pick it up again, you find, that's a lot of that strength still there. Like a lot of the
Yeah. Your body's really resilient, and it's got a crazy memory to just do stuff. And it's nice to hold on to. I think as you get through this kind of journey of, when you're younger, you can explore more, play more, spend more time. And as you start to run out of time to do your work, not in life.
That's a bit morbid.
Come on, guys.
We are never
What's your
die.
favorite phrase, Jenny? Close to death?
Pre-death.
Pre-death, that was it.
Pre-death.
Yeah, as you run out of time for your training is what I meant to say.
Because you're going to die.
Yeah, a little bit more.
We're going to cut this out.
You need a little bit more structure and focus.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
Side tangent. Something that really bothers me.
On the
Okay,
topic of
there we
focus.
Speaking of tangents.
And another thing
Let me tell you something.
is ageism, which is something that never would have crossed my mind before until social media and having lots of followers and
you having
these
the
things
bigger text in
constantly
your
come
phone.
up.
And you having the bigger text in your phone.
Me having bigger text on my phone.
Turn up the TV a few points.
But there is something, it's not just like an attitude thing a lot of the times, because yes, you might not have your get up and go, might get up and gone, but there's also, if you do have an issue, if you're a little bit older and you go to a doctor or whatever, or you have an issue, they're going to be like, well, you know what, your age? But it's like everyone is still as important no matter what the age they are. So that really, really bugs me. It is getting better, I think, in a lot of sports like competitive, like kettlebells and weightlifting masters and stuff like that. Just masters are starting to be taken more seriously. It's like, whoa, here, they're actually, look at these guys go, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think, is very prevalent that some people are just written off because of their age. So it's something I feel I would like to say about, of like, stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like normal distribution curve, you want to shove it over to the right. So I use a workout tracking app. And in it gives you a fitness level, which is kind of fun. It's competitive. But people get really disheartened when they see on it that they're only like average in that group. But you forget that the people who are tracking their workouts are already in a fit group. Yeah. So they're average of like the top 20%. Yeah. So same thing with this. Like if you're older and you're going to your doctor and they're saying, oh, you don't need to worry about that. Like, well, treat me like I am in an elite part of the population, and now let's talk about it. Like, imagine my performance is my career. How am I going to get better at my performance?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something that people generally don't consider until they're older, because like many things, you have like but I was thinking before you have kids, I don't have kids, so I'm still don't think of that as an issue, as much of an issue as someone with kids. It's the same with age. I'm still in my 30s, low 30s, early 30s.
Just gonna rub that in. Get deep in the cracks.
So it's still not as relevant to me that someone would discriminate me on my age, because I'm still at an age that I'm not discriminated against. So you will also have doctors who are in their 30s and 40s speaking to people in their 70s going, yeah, but you're almost, you may as well just sit down. Because they're just not there yet as well. So I think it's really tricky to get perspective.
Yeah.
That's why I love the SMM group, because you do get that perspective then. You're seeing people 60, 70. It's like, I've just got my first side plank march. I've just done this. I've just, my balance. I went and hiked up this mountain, and normally my feet would be sore and I feel great and all that there stuff. And it's like, that's what I want to be like when I grow up.
Yeah.
That's the way I always think, Like Maxine, love Maxine.
Oh, we all want to be Maxine.
We all want to be Maxine when we grow up. She's in her 60s and...
She started kettlebells in her 50s.
Started kettlebells in her 50s,
yeah.
Wow.
And she is now like world champion.
Yeah, she goes and does competitions and stuff.
Amazing.
And like if you don't know what kettlebell sport is, you basically have a big, heavy lump of metal that you have to lift thousands of times up and down above your head, like for long periods of duration, and you get marked on how many reps you can get in that time duration. It's mental. It's a crazy endurance sport. I couldn't do it. Yeah. I physically could not do it. No. I don't have the mental capacity to put myself through that. So anyone that can do it is really impressive. And It's the masters category in it is absolutely incredible. Definitely worth checking out if you've never checked that out.
Are there any things that you'd want to focus on as you get older, maybe more so than you did when you were younger? Or like if somebody was coming to you like Maxine, who was just starting to turn 50 before she got into her kettlebells, it's like, hey Tom, getting older, what do I need to focus on?
My go-to thing is always going to be saying that you want to think about your complete joint health in every angle, which is just what we teach all of the time anyway. So just across the board applies to everybody. But when you do get older, if you haven't been addressing them things for many, 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 many years, that can be why you can start having more aches and pains than usual. And yeah, there is always those things that will be flying around out there, like arthritis and bone spurs and all these things that happen as you get age and degenerative nonsense and all that stuff. All that does happen, yes. But if you move better and you make the supporting structures stronger and move better as well, you're not just bones. You've got all this stuff around the bones that you can, I know, right? Bones. you can actually strengthen and make move better. And if you focus on what you can, that's the big thing I'm always about, right? Well, what can I do? What can I add on top of that? Rather than just going, I can't do that, why bother? So it's just really about making sure that you've any little weakness that you can plug. It might seem challenging to do and like you don't know how to go about it, but it's just because you don't have the information yet. Just like anything, just like the first time Jenny ever tried to boil an egg.
Hey.
Well, now. Tell me more.
We don't need to talk about that.
The first time anybody has ever nudged Jenny tried to boil an egg.
So what would anybody struggle with if they were to learn to boil an egg?
Well, how long do you put it in for? And then you look at the time and then you put it in and you turn the pan on and you wait for the bubbles to come up and you're like, oh, so it's been in that amount of time. And then you take it out and it's like, that's still lumpy.
Still lumpy?
I didn't scramble it and then put it in the pan.
Anyway, that's a sidetrack tangent. The first time you do anything, like all of our parents had to teach us how to use a fork. That's one. Was that your mum that said that?
Something about, it was like if you can show me how to use a computer because I showed you how to use a fork.
Yeah, that's genius. I love that. So yeah, you had to learn everything at one point.
Yeah.
I think just as we all do get older, one, you get set in your ways. You don't want to learn new stuff.
True.
And it does feel a lot more like, oh, I don't know, I haven't done that. Because you've done other things for 40 years and you know what you can do. And you're like, that's what I can do. So learning something
Feel
new.
safe and secure.
Yeah, you want to feel safe.
That,
You want to feel secure. It's if you need to come at something you haven't done before, it can seem very overwhelming. But it's really not as hard as you need it to be. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's just about making sure you're going after all the joints in the ways that they can move. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't need to start doing kettlebell marathons, even though you should.
What about you, Jenny? Any advice for somebody who's just starting out, someone like Maxine?
Someone starting as they're older. Well, the one thing I think you gain when you're older, and I've noticed it already, and I'm not that old, as mentioned, is...
How are we going to live this down? You wait until you're older than me. Then you'll know.
Anyway, is patience.
Yeah.
That
old chestnut.
Yeah. So when I was in my 20s, both me and Tom, I think might have been in your 20s still, Tom.
I was.
Yeah, we went
It
to
was 28 when we met, I think.
I moved here in 2014. So however
10
old
years
you
ago,
were.
27
you were. Crazy, just about.
Good time.
So,
Baby Tom.
anyway.
That was when I was at my worst. That's when I broke myself.
Yeah.
29 was my year.
Just after meeting me. So anyway, we both went to a Max Shank seminar. And we were both quite young coaches at that time. We both had that massive enthusiasm that you have in your mid to late 20s. And
You get up and go.
your get up and go is fully on the go. But Max Shank was older than us. He was probably in his late 30s, maybe at that time, mid 30s. And he was talking about all this mobility stuff, nonsense. And we were kind of like, who would do that? Who would spend their time when you could just lift a
He checked us. We were there for the handstands and the front levers and all the fancy
and
stuff.
then he got us doing deep lunges, and we were like, this is just... Oh, I do feel better though. But either one of us said, or someone said at some point,
I'll never be like that.
I think you said you'll never be like that or something, and I was like, maybe when we're his age, we'll understand.
Well.
And as I got older, I definitely have more patience for the slower stuff, the foundational stuff, because suddenly, I don't know if it becomes from the fact that you're not able to just jump in and like you used to be able to do. So you almost learn, or is it that I appreciate it more?
Probably a few factors at play. Yeah, definitely appreciation, because you start to see the value in it. And as you say, if you're starting and you're like, oh, I need a bit longer to warm up, or things like that, or I'm still more sore from yesterday than I thought I would be.
Yeah.
And you see more people your age maybe doing it as well, where when you're young, like, here's time for that.
Yeah. You take your coat off and start doing Fran.
You take your coat off. Straight in. Walk in the gym, pick up that barbell, off we go. Woo.
Still get your back
Fran
back
is
on.
a really, really intense CrossFit workout.
Yes, just
it's
for context.
horrible. You would not take your coat off and just do it.
I watched JP do Fran on Friday.
Yeah.
What time did you get?
4.5 minutes.
Nice.
I felt like I was moving really fast, and I was not moving very fast at all.
Yeah. Fastest times I ever felt as well. With that and Diane, I thought I finally broke 2 minutes, and it's like, nope, 5.
Well, no, I knew I wasn't doing a good time. I just
couldn't go any
I
faster.
was like, this is as fast as I got. I just can't go faster.
You are very tall though, so
Well,
it's longer for the barbell.
You guys are so kind.
I was watching, so Fran is 21:59, 21 reps of thrusters, then 21 pull-ups.
It's a squat with a press.
Yes. Oh, yes, sorry. Squat, press overhead. So I was watching JP do his thrusters, so he squatted down with the bar, and about 50 seconds later,
Reached the
the
top
bar
of the
ended up overhead at his
Like,
6 foot whatever
When you have to travel
frame.
25 feet, it's a long
exactly.
way.
Anyway,
Nice.
so
Bringing it back to age.
in conclusion,
So as you said, patience.
you have patience now. So
What does that mean? What do you do
where
with it?
I was going with that was a great point that I've not forgotten. And I think that I would tell someone who's older to take the time to learn what you're doing. Because when you're 20, your ego is big. It's much bigger than your skill level. And you just copy what someone else has shown you, and then you immediately start doing it more intense, whether that's faster, heavier, whatever way you make it more intense, without thinking, am I actually doing this right?
Yeah.
So if you're starting from scratch, or scratches as Magic would say, learn how to do it. Ask questions, because that's what a coach is there for. I would actually recommend getting a coach, actually, first of all, because learning by yourself is hard at any age. But when you have lost a bit of wiggle room, maybe you have some underlying issues or injuries that you need to work around or work with, a coach is great.
Nice.
So get a coach and learn what you're doing.
Yeah.
Take a
Your
year.
time.
A year's going to pass anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Take a year to figure stuff out, and then lay a good foundation, and then all in, and
That's
that
cool.
just goes across the board, any age.
Because I was going to say coach. My number 2 then was build strength. So between the three of us, we've got joint health from a coach and lay baseline of strength. Because if you don't have strength, when you go to do any type of conditioning or endurance, if you don't have horsepower behind you, it's very hard to actually do anything. But if you can level that up, then you've got somewhere to move.
Yeah, and I think I had it as a general note anyway, resistance training, no matter what it is you like to do, as you get older, resistance training, I think, becomes non-negotiable.
Yeah.
In whatever form you want to do it, but try not to be the heamiest thing you lift is a message that we...
That's what Tom says.
Really?
Yeah,
I knew I got
that's
it from
really good,
somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, he's a genius.
What am I?
It's something that we say.
Yeah.
As combined with the fact that muscle mass generally decreases as you get older, unfortunately.
So get more now.
So get more
Get
now.
leg
So,
muscle.
Yeah,
It
as you
is so important.
Yeah, as
Wow.
I'm on it.
Leg muscle, eh?
JP's going to live forever.
Need to raise this table up to get my legs under here.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, you lose your wiggle room to be lazy as you get older because things are going down, so you got to be going up. That's the way we want to think about it.
Yes.
Start now and learn new things because that is beneficial in its own. Don't just do what you've always done and you will feel a lot better. Sweet. I think that's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Covered age. Going to get told off by people.
Oh yeah, we're definitely
we
going to
don't know what
get
we're talking about,
blocked because of steroids. We're going to be called ageist. We're going to be told that all sorts of
Oh, that was we didn't actually cover that point. Sometimes don't compare yourself to people that seem to be doing incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever they might be taking something that you're not aware of,
That's
because
very
it does
true.
make a difference.
Special bonus tangent.
There was a guy in the gym every morning, and he never had to scale a workout. Always lifted heavy and stuff, and he was in his late 40s, and I was like,
Interesting.
he's incredible. And then I found out later on he was on everything. I was like, oh, makes sense.
Heavy supplement use. Yes. Yes, I
supplements.
understand. Yes, that's crazy.
Yes.
eh?
Yes, never compare yourself to others, because you can only be where you're at now. And that's pretty damn awesome.
Be the best you.
And if you don't know where to start, you can get the simplistic mobility method.
I know that from this
Sure.
guy.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good. It's
So
a
you got
genius.
all your full body joint movement in one easy to do routine.
Where would you
You
find
do it
that?
at any age. You can find that at tommorrison.uk.
It is the best place to start.
Yeah.
Build your joints, and then build the muscles,
Build your foundation. You can do anything you want.
and then build your sexy body.